Hi, this is Todd from We Print Your Shirts. I know a few folks have said that they've had problems with their Riley 500. They got the press and they couldn't quite figure out how to make sure that everything is aligned properly, and they're having problems with registration. So I just want to run through a quick step or two that I did that solved all my problems. I now have perfect registration even across 100 shirts. And there was a few things that I heard a few people say. One was that when they got it put together, and when they dropped their heads for the first time, the head actually sat on top of their platen. So one thing to make sure is that your platen is actually slid back as far as it can go, or at least beyond the edge of the head. So the head should not sit on top of the platen. So that's one of my first aha moments, was where the platen should be in relationship to the head. The second was make sure that everything's aligned. So once you have the platen in place, you have this in place, level up your press, make sure the platen is level. I have a board that I sit in here that I clamp down, and I make sure that board, when it's clamped down and the head is down, that is as level as my platen is, so that there's no variation between the platen and the screen once I get a screen in here. The other thing that I heard people say is, well, I get different, it doesn't hold registration from print to print, and there's a couple things that I've done that have solved that problem for me. Number one is, if you look at the registration gate and you look at the block that fits into the registration gate, when you drop your head down, that block should sit all the way down inside the registration gate. And I think it's kind of hard to get here with my phone, and I can't quite get it. So make sure that block is as far down as it can go in the registration gate, and there should be zero movement whatsoever. So one of the issues that I had when I was dropping my head on my platen was that this doesn't fit far enough in the registration gate, and the design of the registration gate is it's a little bit wider at the top here than it is down below. So what was happening is that block would sit about here, and I could actually physically move the head back and forth, which isn't what you want to do. So, and then just knowing that one of the first things to do as well is to take a 9/16" wrench and to adjust your off contact here using these bolts here. So I use that block of wood, or that piece of wood that I have. I put the piece of wood in, and I actually have it here, so I'm gonna grab it real quick. So I put this piece of wood in here, I adjusted my off contact, and then I made sure that I'm perfectly flat, or at least with a minimum amount of space across there. Once that was all set up, that was one problem. The other problem that I wasn't quite sure how to use the XYZ heads, and I actually grabbed one here that actually has some blue painter's tape with some arrows on it. So if I turn this one this way, the head's gonna go this way. So it was just, I don't have that on the rest of my heads, I only have it on this one. That was kind of my training, and I've just left it here just as a reminder. I don't even think about it anymore. It's kind of like riding a bike. But one thing that I learned too is to not, I was loosening these up as much as they, so that they were basically loose, and then doing my XYZ. And then I was reefing these down as hard as I could to make sure that this thing was tight. And the problem that I found is when I did it that way, by the time I dropped my screen down, I was out of registration. So what I do now is I basically turn this just enough to release pressure, and so that I can turn the knobs. It's still, I can feel tension here on this, but it's not super loose like it was before. And then with one finger, I bring it back to tight, and I've gone 100 shirts without a single registration issue going through that process. So very different. I hope this video helps out a little bit for those of you with the 500. It's an awesome press. It's rock solid, and this is a special press, in that I know that there's a Riley Hopkins over here, 500, but this one was actually signed by Mr. Riley Hopkins himself when he was at the Ryonet facility when they manufactured this press. So a little bit of history there on this press. But anyway, have a great day.